Joining us now from Wasilla, Alaska, is the former governor of that state and current Fox News analyst, Sarah Palin. So, Governor, for you, what is the worst thing, the absolute worst thing about Obamacare?
Well, Bill, first, thanks for having me. And, we've talked a lot about the specifics that many of us don't like in Obamacare, including the federal unfunded mandates now that will bury our states who already have such budgetary problems, and businesses that have budgetary problems and now will be forced to purchase something that perhaps some of us don't want or don't need, and government's going to tell us to do it anyway. And this, of course, takes away so many of our choices and puts government in between our doctors and our patients, and that's not good. So we've already talked a lot about those specifics. What I dislike most about Obamacare, though, is this notion that the leftists in Washington think that they can pass this thing through, cram it through, with disregard to consider the will of the people, disregard of these constitutional, legal, traditional processes that have thus far been used in America's processes to allow policy to be adopted that do adhere to the will of the people. Now, if these leftists believe that this Obamacare can be crammed through and not be held accountable, these politicians, then what's next coming down the pike? And let me tell you really quickly what I think is coming next down the pike. If this goes through without politicians being held accountable, next will be the cap and tax energy restrictions and amnesty for illegals and things like a card check that union bosses will allow them more control. So many things that, and taxes, of course, that will have to increase to pay for all the big government takeovers that I think the left wants to kind of
so
shove all over
you're objecting
Americans.
you're objecting, but you have to look. This stuff happens because Americans voted in the Democratic Party to control both houses of Congress and the presidency. So it's not that the leftists did anything. It's the folks gave them the opportunity to do what they're doing. Now, the next question comes. How much damage to the leftists, as you put it, the Democratic Party and President Obama, how much damage is done? Are the American people going to accept Obamacare and move on, or are they going to say, we'll get these people in November? What are they going to do?
No, I think that there's going to be a lot of rebuke, and there's going to be some repeal of the policies that the American people will soon realize is not in their best interest. But I beg to differ a little bit of your suggestion there that it was not the Democrats that allowed this to happen. I think those on the far left, Obama, Pelosi, Reid, have left the mainstream Democrat Party.
Yeah, but they could have, the Democratic Party, though, Governor, could have said no. And they all fell into line here. They went bing, 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 and they fell into line.
Even in the 11th hour, President Obama has to make this deal with Stupak and others to say, oh, okay, I'll sign an executive order to assure you that you'll get your way on one provision in this bill. In the 11th hour, and this is after months and months of debate, he was not bringing along the Democrat Party along with him. It has taken these secret deals, these sweetheart deals, these behind closed door wranglings to go on to allow this to finally get to the place where we are tonight with probably seeing this yes vote, this adoption of Obamacare.
Okay.
I think these
that's absolutely true.
But Democrats never liked it.
I want you to project out to November. So we look, the country's at a crossroads now. This is what's fascinating about this whole thing. We can go Western European style, which is obviously the way the Obama administration wants to go. They want to go Western European style, big entitlement, social justice government. Or the people can say, you know what? I just watched what Sarah Palin described to me, and I'm saying, never again. And then, bang, out the window. So what's it going to be, Governor? What's it going to be?
That's what it's going to be, that rejection of that European-style government that some in the Obama administration and in Congress today want to
How can you
bury
be
us
sure?
with here
How
in
can you
America.
be sure that that's what's going to happen?
Because people they're up in arms today. People who are just independent, not obsessively partisan, one side or the other, are saying, no, now I get it. Now I understand what candidate Obama had meant in the campaign when he talked about redistribution of wealth, when he talked about fundamentally transforming this land that we so love, and we love the traditions, and we love the free market here in America, yet he wants to transform that into something unrecognizable. No, the American voter is saying, No, I don't like it. And that's what you see in the Tea Party movement. That's what you see on the Hill today with those protesters. That's what you see all across this great land where people are saying, no, now I get it, what he meant.
Right.
I'm going to pay more attention coming up in these midterm elections, too.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if your prediction comes true. Now, finally, as I mentioned, there are some good things about the bill. There are some protections built in for people who got hosed by the insurance companies. Will you cede that?
You know, why didn't we just work on those things then that were hosing the American people, the consumers of health care coverage? If the insurance companies were screwing people left and right, why don't we crack down on that and not just, again, assume that government's got to take it all over, 1/6 of our economy, and reform and transform something so large in our private sector, falsely assuming that government can run it better? Why didn't we just concentrate on those things that are so obviously broken and fix them?
All right, Governor. Hey, that's a beautiful setting you're standing there in, huh? Out there.
That's nice.
That's real. That's not a picture, right? That's real.
It's real. Alaska's real. It's pristine, it's clean, it's gorgeous, and it's healthy.
All right, Governor. Always good to see you. Thanks for taking the time this evening.